God. Going too fast. I'm taking 3.
I'm going for the St. Louis now.
Oh, no.
Son of a bitch.
You get your 2?
Yeah. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thotgor here, of course, and today we are going to take a look at a battle I had in my Kirov. Now, this is obviously a battle from some time ago. It was early May, so this would be before the latest patch and before the latest changes to the game. But I wanted to show off this episode because it's still a really good teamwork episode. It really got sort of hairy there at the end, but we managed to pull it together. Now, you're not going crazy. This is the second video that I've uploaded for today. We are going to get more Hearts of Iron videos going out as well, because I really am playing a whole bunch of that right now. But I'm still going to maintain ship videos, obviously, right? And actually, today I didn't plan on putting up any videos. I was going to get the ship video up today, and that was about it, because I had a pretty busy day scheduled. But it turns out that this morning when I woke up, I was violently ill and had to cancel those plans, so that kind of sucked. But luckily, everyone involved was understanding, so all those meetings and whatnot I had are scheduled for next week, so fantastic. And works out to your benefit, because I get to put out more videos today. Anyway, in the Kirov. Now, obviously, I don't have the Kirov anymore. Tier 5 Russian cruiser. I have since upgraded to the Buddy, but I wasn't disappointed with the Kirov, frankly. I really did enjoy the what a significant upgrade the Kirov was from the Svetlana. Svetlana it's an okay Tier 4 cruiser. We've talked about her before, and I don't really have too many problems with her at Tier 4, other than the fact that it's a Tier 4 cruiser. At Tier 5, I really did enjoy the Kirov. Not enough to actually keep the Kirov. I don't play cruisers at Tier 5 very often. If I'm going to play Tier 5, generally speaking, I'm in a destroyer or a battleship. Or if I do decide to take out a cruiser, I've got my Marblehead, and I love that ship. So I didn't see the need to keeping the Kirov around, but like I say, this was an excellent battle. Really good work by the team in this one. So you can see that we are starting, or at least I'm starting out, over here on the west side. We have a pretty good dispersion of my teammates going on right now, actually. It's fairly even, west versus east, so that looks good. We have obviously 4 different cap zones, so we are going to be attempting to take at least one of these zones. Hopefully it's going to be A, because that's where I'm at, and I can cap it and get a few points from that. But if it's B, over there on the east, whatever, right? That doesn't matter. As long as we get one cap zone to at least have parity here with the enemy in this early stage. It's fairly important to get that cap zone, but it's not as important as staying alive in these early stages. So don't put yourself into a situation where you're trying to get the cap zone because it's early on, you really want it, but you're in a situation where it's either fairly iffy as to whether or not you're going to take the cap zone, and you're putting yourself into a lot of danger. Try not to take too many risks right at the beginning. Let the battle progress a little more, to give yourself some time to actually assess the situation and to see where you could be pushing and where you could maybe be taking advantage of some of the enemy's mistakes, and start racking yourself up some damage and potentially kills. So try and keep that in mind. Now, in this case, the enemy has taken the eastern point, so we really do need to start pushing over here on the west to cap this zone, or at least to finish capping this zone, because we are capping it right now. You can see we have several ships in the cap. We have a destroyer and a cruiser in there capping away. I was trying to get myself into the zone as well to start capping, but I have a friendly off on the starboard side. You can see him, he's turning away now. But in addition to that, we do see some battleships off in the distance, right? Some heavy hitters, and I really didn't want to get too damaged too early on. And you can see as well, I am for the most part giving these enemy ships a pretty nice broadside. I'm turning out of it now to give them my bow, but it is a good opportunity for these ships to start racking up some hits on me. And the Kirov, it doesn't take many hits at all to bring a Kirov down. She doesn't have great armor. Her citadels are high above the waterline, so it's going to be fairly easy to do. Luckily for me, though, I don't have to worry about too much incoming enemy fire. The enemies that are off there in the distance seem to be a whole lot more concerned with the friendly cruisers I have in front of me, as well as some of the destroyers I had in front of me as well. So they're much more concerned about those guys than myself, which is great. But now I do have this Cleveland coming into play here. Now the Cleveland is going to be focusing on me. Yeah, the Cleveland is not having any of what I'm selling here, so I need to turn and get myself out of the situation. I did take it wasn't a bad hit from the Cleveland, but it did result in some critical damage, right? We saw my engine went down there, so I had to repair that, took another salvo from the Cleveland, and now suddenly I'm losing hit points fairly quickly. I didn't want to run into my friendly ship here, so now I have to turn out, or rather turn away from my friendly ship so I don't hit him, slow myself down, so that I can so that I can continue my turn away from these enemy ships right now. Luckily for me, the Cleveland has turned away from me, but the Cleveland is still engaging me. I do have better range than the Cleveland, assuming that the captain over there does not have any significant range increases on him. But I can get myself out of this situation relatively easily. It's just I'm sort of slow on the draw on this one, right? I did get, like, look at this, I'm below half health here before I actually get myself behind cover, or before I'm actually breaking contact, so it kind of did suck, but luckily my team is all over this one. Not necessarily over on my side. Like right now we do have this point, we do have the western point, and we're holding back the enemy. We're not necessarily pushing on them right now, we're just holding them back at this point in time. It's over on the east that my team is really shining through. I mean, they managed to cap that eastern point. I know that they're losing it this time, but they did cap it there for a while, which is giving us a nice opportunity to start decreasing the distance between our points and the enemy points, because the enemy has managed to take down 2 of our cruisers, so they have a nice little lead in points right now. Now it's definitely not a big lead that we can't overcome, but it is a lead nonetheless that we are going to have to try and close down. We do have a friendly destroyer who's moving into the northernmost cap. Now that destroyer is being sneaky in his play, in his or her play, which is excellent to see. I mean, that destroyer is really going to help us out here, because it's going to start making the enemies question where they should be pushing, what they should be doing, especially the enemies over on the east. Once they see that their northern cap zone is being taken, hopefully some of those ships will start turning back and alleviate some of the pressure there on my allies who are over there on the east as well, because it's up to them now, right, to go ahead and take back that zone. They don't necessarily have to do it, keep in mind, because we do have parity at this point in time, and we have our destroyer capping the northern point. However, the point over there in the east, it would still be nice to have, sort of as a buffer, because I don't expect us to hold that northern point for too long. It's really just a distraction at this point in time for the enemies. You can see as well that the enemy ships that we are facing off over here on the west, we've really pushed them back a whole lot. A lot of these ships are actually, questioning, it looks like they're questioning anyway, as to whether or not they even want to continue over here on the western side. And they're so far away that I really don't have too much of a concern from these guys. I mean, I know that there are battleships there in the background, right, specifically the one I'm shooting at now, but they're not really focused on me, so I'm not really too concerned. My main focus here is just to set some fires on them, keep those fires burning, and let my bigger friendly ships, who also have more health than me, let them deal with some of these enemy ships here. Now we do have an enemy destroyer pushing through and making a run on one of my battleships, so this is a huge threat here. I do need to try and do something about this enemy destroyer before the enemy destroyer manages to take down my battleship. At least that's the plan. So I've got shots on the way out. Those shots aren't the best, right? I didn't even hit them, and I didn't lead the target far enough as well. I just sort of took the shots, snapshot it, shot them there, and just let them go. Now the enemy destroyer launches torpedoes off the battleship. I have my shells coming in. Did a little better with those shots there. I managed to do some critical damage and take out the enemy torpedo, but all for naught. The enemy destroyer does manage to take out our battleship, so that really sucked. We really needed that battleship over here on this side, because that battleship was causing the enemy a whole lot of concern. So I managed to run myself into the edge of the map here, which kind of does suck, but I quickly get myself out of it. I'm not a map edge rider. I've never have been, and I just never saw the appeal to it. When it happens, it's because I'm not paying attention, just like right there. So quickly get myself out of that situation, and we start sizing up some of these enemy ships here. Now we do have an enemy battleship, right? There we can see the enemy battleship, and he is pushing into, or rather the player is pushing into the point here. I don't have a whole lot of health, and I'm only a Kirov, so I'm not going to be able to take on this battleship. You can see the battleship is firing at me. I just took more damage, so that really sucks. So I have to get myself out of this situation. Now, to the north, we did actually manage, and we are still holding on to that northern point, which is fantastic. The destroyer that we had up there is gone, but we did just have a friendly cruiser up there. Unfortunately, our friendly cruiser is now gone as well, so this is getting a little hairy. And the enemy has maintained, their lead over us as well in points. Luckily, though, I do have a friendly battleship still over here, which the enemy battleship is focused on, which is opening up the opportunity for me to keep that enemy battleship on fire. Now that the enemy battleship is on fire, I'm also just taking a look at the enemy destroyer. I wanted to do something about this enemy destroyer. I didn't want the enemy destroyer to come in and take out another one of my battleships. That would really suck. So the enemy destroyer, it looks like it's coming out from behind cover. This is going to open up an excellent opportunity for me to rain down some shells on this player and hopefully be able to take the player out. No, going back behind cover. I wasn't going to risk those shots, especially considering I've got this enemy battleship who I can continue to fire in on and continue to set fire to. My friendly battleship is in a bad way, and the friendly battleship is just about to go down. You can see it's a Fuso duking it out with the enemy battleship there, and it is not going well for that player at all, which is very unfortunate. I was really hoping, though, that the friendly battleship would be able to take out the enemy battleship. It didn't happen, but luckily the enemy battleship is on such low health that my shots can come in and take him out. So we did lose our Fuso, but the enemies lost, I believe it was a Nagato, so it was a trade. It was a trade. Now the enemies still are in the lead at this point in time. We can see that we do still have our cap zone over here on the west. We lost the eastern cap zone and the northern cap zone, and I only have 5 allied ships remaining at this point in time as well, so there is that. I mean, we do have 2 battleships, 2 cruisers, and a destroyer. One of the cruisers, though, is myself, and I am on very, very low health. I'm duking it out here with this enemy cruiser in the background as well, trying to get out of the firing range of that cruiser and trying to avoid the incoming shots. Luckily, I'm getting lucky with the incoming shots here, and they are doing minimal damage, so that's not too bad. But we do need to get ourselves back down here to the south and start regrouping with my allies, right? And it's at this point in time as well that you can see, some teamwork being carried out here and actually paying off pretty well for us. So I'm here with a friendly cruiser in front of me. I'm going to say Konigsberg, but I'm probably wrong. I'm usually wrong when I say what type of ship it is. Usually wrong, and it's not because I don't know, when I'm playing the game what type of ship it is. It's going back and recording the voiceover that we do here. The little preview window is small and I can't always see it. I'm basically working on the outlines of the ship, like that ship there. I'm going to say it's a Nuremberg. I don't know if it is. It's a Nuremberg or a Konigsberg, I can tell you that. But anyway, I do have a few shots going out for that player. You can see that this player here is immediately starting to engage me, right? I do have some other enemy ships off in the distance who are putting shots in on me as well. So I really need to start working with my friendly cruiser, the Konigsberg that I have with me, and the friendly destroyer. So the friendly destroyer is going to start working on the enemies who are coming from the east, trying to get into our base in the south. Now we do have 2 friendly battleships. Friendly battleships, right? Now they are horribly out of position. But they are going to get themselves into position. So right now it's looking pretty bleak on their end as to what exactly they're going to be able to contribute, but they are going to make their presence known. I don't know what they were doing back there, probably trying to snipe, right, firing at their max range and avoiding all damage as much as possible, but they do notice the error in their way, and they are making their way towards us now, which is pretty good. You can see as well that I'm continuing my push on the south. I'm not going to go and try and start engaging these enemy ships. I'm firing at them as I'm retreating here, obviously, trying to set them on fire and doing more damage as I can and where I can. But I'm not turning my ship around to start going head on with these guys. It's not going to happen. I want to try and stay alive as much as possible here. Now we do have some enemy ships that are starting to coming closer on our southern point. We can't see them just yet, but they are there, and we know that they're there. We know this because that they're there's an enemy spotter plane circling in and around our destroyer. So we do know that their enemy ships are on the way. So we're going to get ourselves grouped up here. I'm going to try and group up now that my Konigsberg, my friendly cruiser, is gone. There's only 4 of us remaining. I'm going to try and group up up here with my friendly battleships and stay within a reasonable distance of my friendly destroyer so that I can help support this destroyer. We can see a lot of the enemy ships that are starting to come in here and fire on us. A lot of them are on full health or, you know, thereabouts. So this was not playing well, and I really didn't think that we were going to stand a chance, especially considering we only have one cap zone right now. We have less ships than the enemy team. You know, it's not looking good, but just you wait. My friendly destroyer, that player, you know, not playing around, that player obviously knows exactly what he or she is doing in a destroyer, and obviously is taking advantage of the situation and moving over to the east to start capping that zone. So this is fantastic. This is exactly what we would want the friendly destroyer to do in this situation, right? You would want the destroyer to go ahead and start capping zones, capping them as quick as possible, right? To just, you know, buy more time, because the enemies are already in the 900s now. We're only at 830 thereabouts, so we really need to cap some zones here and start killing enemy ships to gain some points back. So I'm basically now, I've grouped up with my friendly battleships who are back here. You can see they're out from cover. They're still a bit of ways out there, but it's not outside of my range. The Kirov, the Russian cruisers, you know, they have some pretty good range on them, so I'm definitely using the range to my advantage here and sticking with the battleships, using their heavy support, and then you know, focusing down targets with them. We can see that at least one of the battleships is engaging the Cleveland, and we see shots from the second battleship going into the Cleveland. Unfortunately they miss, but at least I know that my battleships are you know, engaging this Cleveland, so this is definitely the target that I'm going to want to focus on. Now, my friendly destroyer continues to play hero in this battle. Friendly destroyer just capped the eastern zone and is now moving back up to the north to cap that zone. Again, this is exactly what you want your destroyers to do. You know, in a situation like this where all hope seems to be lost, this is exactly what you want to have happen. The Cleveland went down. We can see one of my battleships did put down the Cleveland, so that is fantastic. Now we are engaging the enemy cruiser, another enemy cruiser. It's a German cruiser, I don't know which one it is. It's either the tier 5 or the tier 6 one. So we're engaging that one now, and you know, it doesn't have much armor and down to about 50% health as well, so we should be able to take out this cruiser fairly easily. We can see shots coming out from my battleships as well, which is fantastic. There we go, enemy cruiser is down, and that's all we needed to actually win the battle. Yes, we won. I know it was close, and I know it was a pretty good battle. I told you guys it was going to come down to teamwork on this one, and it really did come down to those last few players, and I can't say enough about that friendly destroyer, the Polish destroyer there. We can see he finished second overall on the team. It is that player who saved us in this battle, so kudos to you, my friend, and kudos to everyone on the team. We did a pretty good job there, well, those who have survived anyway. So that is it. I do hope you enjoyed the video. We're able to see, you know, teamwork does happen in this game every now and then, and sometimes quite unexpectedly. As well, you know, if you are in your destroyer and you find yourself in a similar situation as we saw in this video, don't forget to cap the enemy bases. So that is it, folks. I do hope you enjoyed the video. Leave any comments you have for me. Hit the old like button if you did like today's video. Hit subscribe if you're not a subscriber. And as always, I do hope you enjoy the rest of your day.